Today I'm going to be teaching you a series of camera movement techniques in order to help give you some creative ideas for screenwriting a film. The first technique I will be teaching you is the tripod pan. The way in which you conduct the tripod pan is by setting your camera on your tripod and pulling the lever evenly from one side to the other. The next technique I will be teaching you is the tripod tilt. The way in which you conduct the tripod tilt is by setting your camera onto your tripod and pulling the lever from a downward view to an upward view, or vice versa. Our third technique is called the tripod slider. The way in which you conduct the tripod slider is by setting your camera onto your tripod and pulling the lever in a diagonal motion. Our next technique is called the handheld lead. The way in which you conduct the handheld lead is by holding the camera with your hands. What you want to do is to lead your subject by walking backwards and having your subject walk in the same direction as the camera is moving. Next, we have the handheld follow. The way in which you conduct the handheld follow is by holding your camera with your hands and following your subject in whichever direction they may go. Our next movement technique is the handheld pan. The way that you conduct the handheld pan is by holding your camera with your hands and panning the camera from left to right, or vice versa. Up next is dolly tracking. Dolly tracking is the same concept as the handheld lead, but instead you put your camera onto your tripod and then secure it onto your dolly and proceed. This makes for a much steadier frame. Next is dolly trucking. Dolly trucking is done by putting your camera onto your tripod, then securing it onto your dolly and following your subject with a profile camera angle. Our next movement is the push-in. The push-in is done by pushing your camera in towards your still subject. Lastly, we have the pull out. The pull out is done by pulling your camera away from your still subject.